Good morning or good afternoon, everyone, wherever you happen to be in Australia. Welcome to the weekly Purple Penny coin video. We have this video at 12 o'clock every Monday in South Australian time. Those of you who aren't in Australia, we run a coin shop. We being my wife and I run a coin shop in Adelaide, South Australia, which on the Australia map is in the middle at the bottom. And we've been running these videos at 12 p.m. For not much under 2 years. We'll have to have a 2-year birthday party in November when we get there. Right, welcome everyone. Thanks for watching. Hello Gary, Michael, Matthew, John, Petra, Mike, Gwen and Glenn. Tanya just popped in there. Right, so we had a good week this week in the shop. It was busy buying and selling, and I thought what I would do just before we got started is actually show you some of the strange stuff that we bought this week, because we did buy some strange stuff this week. So there's this thing here, which is it's a bell, and the reason that we bought this is that it engraved on the bell it says John Martin's centenary 1866 to 1966. So John Martin's was an iconic South Australian department store, and they closed down about 20 years ago, I guess. They'd been open since the middle 1800s, and they were an iconic South Australian department store. So normally we don't buy this sort of stuff, but because it's got a South Australian bent to it, when someone brought it in, we had to buy it. So that's a John Martin's centenary bell from 1966. Those of you who are here from Adelaide, you would know what John Martin's was. We bought this, which some of you out there probably know what that is. And what it is, of course, is a hand grenade that has been crafted into an ashtray. So the bottom has been flattened off there, and holes been cut in the top, and all the blowy uppy bits have been removed. So yeah, this is a Mills bomb. It's still got the pin in there, which you can pull out, and everyone I guess should run now because I've just pulled the pin out. But I can't resist odd stuff like this, so I guess you would call this trench art. And someone did bring this in and asked me to make an offer on it, so we looked up what these sorts of things were selling for, and we made him an offer on that. So that's a Mills bomb ashtray, trench art ashtray. We bought a couple of these this week. These are World War II government savings certificates. So the way that the federal government helped fund the war effort in World War II is by selling these government savings certificates to the Australian public. So this is a £1 certificate. The other one we've got here is also a £1 certificate. We paid 16 shillings for one of these. 16 shillings, they were 20 shillings in a pound, so you were paying 4 shillings less than a pound, and then you could redeem this in 7 years and get 20 shillings back. So you were getting about a 25% return over 7 years, and the money would be used by the government was being used by the government to help fund the war effort. This one here was actually purchased in 1944 and couldn't be turned in until 1951. This one was bought in 1952 and couldn't be turned in until 1949. Neither of them were redeemed. So the person the family that spent 32 shillings or £1 and 12 shillings on these never redeemed them and never got their money back. So it's another interesting thing. And the last one, we bought this gold medal this week. It's about a 12 gram 9 carat gold medal, engraved on the back. It's from 1947, and it's the Delmont medal, the Printers Trade School Education Department, South Australia. So this was presented to the best apprentice in the printmaking game in 1947, and it was awarded to Brian W. Barrett, who was a bookbinder, and bookbinding is a lost art. books are usually machine bound these days, so he bound something as part of his final year apprenticeship project and received a gold medal as the best printing apprentice in South Australia. And funnily enough, excuse me here, this is his project that he won that gold medal for. So this is a massive hand-bound ledger with decorated paper on the ends there. It's bound in, I assume it's bound in leather. It's all bound by hand. It's still in basically perfect condition, and it's 73 years old. So quite a remarkable thing. Now, normally we wouldn't buy things like that. We'd certainly buy medals. We always buy medals. But it just seemed tragic to separate the medal and the book. And I guess this is a challenge with Catherine and I as collectors. It probably wasn't a sound business decision to buy both of those things, but us as collectors, I don't think either of us could bear to see those two items split up. So we bought both the items, and now we just have to figure out what we're going to do with them. So that's some odd things that we bought this week. Let's jump into the news. Wrong slide. Right, there we go. So we're heading up to the April release, which is on the 7th of April, which is only, it's 2 weeks this Thursday. This is going to be our biggest release here in the shop ever, without a shadow of a doubt. We've had a lot of interest in the products that are coming up. Our allocations were quite good, so Catherine and I guess, are a little bit nervous about the work that's coming up in the first week in April. We still are looking for people that are interested in buying any products from that new release in April. It's the Honeybee Roll and the Honeybee Sea Mint Mark is the one that everyone's interested in. So if you are interested in those products, please do get in contact with us. And as I said, that will be our biggest release, RAM release here ever. And I guess if you're coming in on release day on Thursday, April the 7th, I expect it to be a bit busy in here. The Adelaide Coin and Banknote Expo has gone from, last week I talked about it, has gone from a potential to a definite. So it is definitely happening. We'll just bring up the slide for that. There, it's definitely happening. It is definitely going to be a 3-day show. So it's the first weekend in October, which is a long weekend. So October 1st to the 3rd, a Saturday, Sunday and a Monday. It'll be open from 10 to 5 on the Saturday and 10 to 4 on the Sunday and Monday. All 81 tables are booked out by dealers already. It took less than 48 hours for all 81 available tables to be booked out. So it is going to be big. Everyone is super excited about it. We're super excited about it. We've already arranged with Jared, who comes and helps us out here on Saturdays, to come and spend the 3 days of the show with us. We will be in our usual spot right by the door. We'll have 5 tables or 7 tables, I can't remember exactly. Catherine and I will be doing most of the online promotion for the expo. So free admission, of course. Anyone that you know is interested in coins, please do get them to follow the Expo page and Expo Facebook page and keep up to date with what's going on. We're hoping to get an overprinted PNC for the weekend. We're just trying to sort through the logistics of doing that. But everyone, I can tell that everyone in the Numismatics Society is super excited about it. So let's just hope that goes ahead. That goes ahead. I'll just jump back to the news slide. Right, I gave a talk at the Adelaide Treasure Hunters Club last week. The Adelaide Treasure Hunters are a group of metal detectorists here in Adelaide that do monthly field trips, and I believe they do an annual multi-day trip somewhere, and they look for treasure. Lovely bunch of people, great split of genders, half men, half women. If you are in Adelaide and you are a detectorist, I do encourage you to look them up. They meet in an inner northern suburb on the 3rd Wednesday of every month. They were super welcoming to us and super friendly. And yeah, if you are in Adelaide and you are a detectorist, then do get along to the Adelaide Treasure Hunters Club. I gave a talk on coins that you can find in your change, so treasures that you can find in your change. They really enjoyed the talk and have invited us back. Just in the news this week, I noted that over $1 million worth of what they call looted, speaking about metal detectorists, what are called looted coins have been seized by Interpol. So Interpol is the European Community's police group, and many European countries have treasure laws where antiquities can't be removed from the countries, and that includes metal detected items and treasure hunted items over a certain age. Of course, metal detectorists and treasure hunters, the unscrupulous ones, do look to loot sites and sell those things outside of the country because they can often get more money for them. So the Interpol has seized over $1 million in coins and I believe over 14,000 individual items of treasure in the last couple of months, which is quite remarkable. Right. The other goings on this week, I did post this up on Facebook the other day. So we've just had this made. So it's a hardened metal punch, and we're still working out what we're going to do with it. So it's being made in Lithuania, actually. It's just been shipped back now. The idea being that we're going to use it to counterstamp something, or many somethings. Initially, at least, we're thinking about our silver bars that we have manufactured. So they'll be co-branded with the people who make them for us, which is Bex. And we'll have our little counter stamp on them and probably a serial number. We've also got some silver discs here. We bought a number of silver discs a little while ago, which are about the size of 20-cent pieces. We'll probably counter stamp those. We're also looking at perhaps importing a bunch of copper blanks and counter stamping those so that we've got some things that we can give away or award to our special customers. So just keep an eye out for that on our website and on Facebook as that stamp arrives. No doubt I'll go around whacking all sorts of things with it. Thanks to the person in the Facebook post who suggested we should heat it up and brand people who came into the shop. Probably not ideologically sound, but made me grin anyway. Thanks to that person who suggested that. Right, topic of the week is Die Clash, and the reason why we're talking about Die Clash this week is because Catherine and we wrote an article for Australian Coin and Banknote magazine over the weekend about a well-known Die Clash variety coin. I don't think I've ever spoken about it here before, so I thought I would just run it through. So what is Die Clash? Die Clash is when the heads die and the reverse die in the press get pressed together and there's no blank in between. If the dies are adjusted poorly, so that the 0 point is the 0 point is the point where the dies are at their furthest travel. So the 0 point is where they can actually touch each other. If they hit each other with enough force, then you can end up with the impression of parts of the dies on each other. Okay, and the result of that is that all the coins that are struck from that point forward have those unintended design features struck on them, and those design features will be on the opposite side than you'd expect. So you'll get obverse features appearing on the reverse design of the coins, and they'll also be mirror imaged. And they'll also be, instead of going into the coin, they'll be popping out of the coin, and instead of coming out of the coin, they'll be going into the coin. So incuse elements will be in relief, and relief elements will be incuse. So that's what Die Clash is. Usually, certainly in Australian coin collecting terms, there hasn't been a lot of interest in coins with Die Clash. Now, compare that with the US, for example. There's a very well-known Franklin $half variety called the Bugs Bunny variety, which is Die Clash. Very sought after, very valuable coin. In the last few years, there has been one Die Clash coin which has captured people's imagination, and Alex, I know you're here, so don't spoil it for everyone. I'm sure everyone knows what it is anyway. So we'll just have a look at some examples of Die Clash. So this is a 3 pence. So it's a Queen Elizabeth II 3 pence. These were minted from 1953 to 1964. They have the old Mary Gillick portrait of the Queen, and here you can see the reverse side of the coin, the reverse side being the tail side, and the Queen's portrait on these coins always faces right. But if you look where the red arrows are pointing in this picture, you can see the top of her head running across just below the Australia there, and then you can clearly see her nose and her lips on the left hand side. So what we've got here is an incuse impression of the left facing Queen, and that's because the heads die and the tail die have come together. The heads die has whacked against the tails die, and we've got a reverse impression of the Queen on the die, and as such we get this result. It's quite remarkable how neat this looks. It almost looks intentional, but I've had a number of threepences like this, and I think they're wonderful, but they are hard sells. People aren't that interested in them, so it is well worth looking out for them if you're noodling threepences. Certainly if you're noodling pennies and half pennies, always look for it on Queen Elizabeth coins, because it is very common. It is very common to find the Queen's chin and neck and forehead around the kangaroo on pennies and half pennies. So this is a lovely die clash threepence. And we'll just bring up the next slide here. This is a bit of a slideshow. So this is a world coin. This is a Ceylon half cent with the George V portrait of the McKennell portrait of King George V, and you can see what I've done is I've reversed the portrait so it's back to front, and then on the tail side there you can see with the red arrows the outline of the King's portrait on the tail side of the coin there. So this is quite a neat example. It's neat for a couple of reasons. One is that it is ultra high grade. It's much better condition than what you would expect to see it. And the other reason is that the clash is a really good one. It's nice and strong, and it's obvious where it's come from. Sometimes with these die clashes it isn't immediately obvious where the features have come from, but on this coin you can clearly see the King's shoulders, you can see the back of his head, you can see the front of his face. It is just couldn't be any more obvious where the clash has come from. Right, last clash, and this is the one that everyone knows about. This is the 2016 50 years of decimal changeover 5-cent piece with the so-called alien die clash on it. Now this coin has the little portrait of the Queen by Ian Rank Broadley at the top there, and then below that we have the penny design by George Kruger Gray. And if you look at the top left and the top right of the outside of the penny, you can see curved shapes leading to the left and the right, and they look like little antennas. And I don't know who called it first, but someone's decided that that's a Martian or an alien. Nanu, yeah, okay, so Damien's, you've just given me a flashback to my childhood there, Damien. Nanu comes from Robin Williams and Mork and Mindy, and I can't remember if Mork had aliens coming out, antenna coming out the top of his head, but anyway. This is the alien die clash. So when people are talking about the alien, this is the coin they're talking about. It is a die clash coin. How often are these found? Almost never, although there's one person watching today that has found a couple. We've handled 3 or 4. I think we've handled 4, and we've seen a couple of others. They don't turn up very often at all. Like the double-headed 2007 5-cent piece, for example, there's been a lot more of those turned up than these. Now, why is that? One, perhaps there weren't not that many people are looking for them. That's one reason. It might just be observer bias. The other reason is that perhaps when the dies clashed, it caused some damage to the press, and perhaps the press only ran for a few more seconds after these were made. It's hard to say why there are so few, but as a collectible, it has captured collectors' information, and as such they do sell for sort of $300, $400, $500. I think the last one I saw sell auction for over $500 for a die clash, and usually die clashes get very little interest from collectors, but this one, for whatever reason, has captured people's imaginations. Now, where did those shapes come from that you can see there? Well, if you situate it next to a regular 5-cent piece, you can see that what it is the gap between the emu's front and left paw and the sides of its head. So because that gap on the reverse of the coin is incuse, and incuse means it's set into the coin, that means that the feature on the die is the other way round, so it's in relief. So that the die feature that creates that little gap there actually stands up from the surface of the coin. When the clash happened, those raised features hit the obverse die. They created a incuse impression on the obverse die, and when all the coins after that point were struck, you get this raised antenna feature. It's pretty neat. It's really obvious when you see it. The nickname is great. Sean Dowling named it, according to Alex. Sean Dowling named it. It is a neat thing. It's really obvious when you see it, and I must admit that I do get a little thrill whenever I see one, which is always a good thing when you get a thrill in the shop. So that's Die Clash coins. Die Clash coins are, as I said, not hugely popular, except for that Alien 2016 5-cent piece, which has here in Australia at least has become immensely popular. Right, that's it for today. Have we got any questions here? I'll just scan through the comments here. Yeah, okay, so just with regards to the expo, there's always free parking out the front of the expo. It's held at the Torrens Parade Grounds, which are very close. It's very close to the city centre here, and there's a huge car park out the front of the building. And that's secure parking as well. There'll be someone on the gate letting people in and out. So, and admission is free, of course. Gary says he can recommend the expo as he had a great time. Gary came down at the last expo, which was in 2019. Hello, Carolyn. How are you? Hello, Patrick. Hello, Ben. And I think that's about it. Right. Thanks, everyone. Die Clash would damage the expensive dies, which would have to be replaced. So Damien, it's a really interesting question. I don't know if it ends up breaking the dies or it breaks some of the support structure around them. You know, it can't be good for hardened metal dies to come together like that. When they hit a coin, the forces are immense when they hit a coin, but the coin blank is ductile, so there's some movement there. When hardened dies hit each other, the impact forces must be tremendous. So, you know, whether that breaks the face of the dies or breaks some of the support structure or causes some damage to the machine, it's hard to know. Usually, you know, like on half pennies and pennies, die clashes are super common, especially in the QE2 series, so I don't think they caused a lot of damage because you just see so many of them. But perhaps for this changeover Alien 5-cent die clash, perhaps that did cause some damage, and that's why there is so few of them. Right, thanks everyone for watching. Thanks Glennis, thanks Gary, thanks Mike. Happy collecting, stay safe. Please, if you've got anything you want me to talk about, please do let me know. And thanks for joining in, thanks for the comments, I always appreciate it. It makes this a lot easier. Ben says we could wax seal our envelopes. We did think of that one, Ben, but then we'd need to melt some wax. So, and fire and coins don't usually mix well together. Bye everyone.